When you think of open world games, one company probably comes to mind. A company that not only popularized the genre, but continues to set the gold standard with every release. That company is, of course, Ubisoft.
You serious?
Nah, I'm just fucking with you. This company makes the most aggressively mediocre games you've ever seen in your life. They're like the Nissan of the gaming industry. Year after year, they keep releasing the digital equivalent of an Altima, and for some reason, everyone keeps buying their products. It wasn't always like this though. There was a time when they were capable of making genuinely amazing games. You saw the thumbnail, you know exactly where this is going. In 2007, Ubisoft released this, Surf's Up, their most accomplished title. A game so fun, most people probably don't pay attention to the... story? You really suck at this. I mean, do you even know how to tell a joke? You know what, pal? You're right. Say, would you mind holding this for me? Sure, I guess. Hey, wait, what is this? May I have your attention, please? This is your brain. And this is your brain on Red Bull. If you or a loved one are suffering from caffeine addiction, please call 1-800. This video was supposed to be about Watch Dogs, and I don't know how to get back on track, so I'm just going to start yapping about the game and pretend like none of this ever happened. Watch Dogs is a third-person open-world game not too dissimilar to Grand Theft Auto, but there's a few things that make it feel significantly different. The most obvious difference is the hacking. Aiden, who I'll talk more about in a bit, is a certified tech wizard. He's basically Harry Potter, but he has an iPhone instead of a wand. You can do everything from hacking cameras to scout and plan out your attacks to triggering explosions to take out enemies remotely. It feels a bit basic nowadays, but we didn't have the sequel to compare it to back then, so it was far more impressive. But even today, it's still a welcome addition to the game's sandbox. Giving the player more tools to use as they please is literally never a bad thing. Speaking of the sandbox, this game's sandbox is actually a sandbox. Unlike some other games that desperately want to be linear, narrative-focused experiences but are forced to be open world for some reason, Watch Dogs lets you tackle most of its objectives however you see fit. You can walk straight through the front door and go guns blazing, which is a ton of fun because the guns feel amazing and the AI is incredibly satisfying to toy with since they don't have wall hacks. They're not brain dead, but they also don't magically know where you are at all times after being spotted. So if you keep your head down and stay out of sight, it's very possible to do things like, for example, flanking them while they push up on your last known location, or using said last known location to lure them into a trap. If you don't like the frontal assault route, that's okay. I assaulted your mother's frontal last night more than you did with that big ass head of yours when you were born. Another option is to take the stealthy approach and shoot everyone in the head with a suppressed weapon, or jump through the cameras and try to take as many enemies out as possible with the hackable environmental objects if you really want to lean into the tech wizard aspect of the game. You pretty much play however you want, and that's how an open world game should feel. Now admittedly, there are a few missions here and there that force you to go about doing things a certain way, but I really don't care, to be honest, because there aren't that many of them and they're still really fun. Another way this game takes advantage of the fact that it's open world is by fully utilizing the map. There are more side activities in Watch Dogs than you have Chrome tabs open right now.
Why do I have 47 tabs open? I actually have 2,673 open.
You what?
As far as side content goes, you've got gang hideouts, which are exactly what they sound like, fixer contracts that have you take on the role of a wheelman to do various tasks like being a getaway driver or serving as a decoy to attract cops away from the client, criminal convoys where you have to intercept a convoy and eliminate a specific target, and the weirdest one by far, privacy invasions. That's not quite everything, but those are the ones I found to be the most interesting. One more thing I want to mention that's related to the side activities is the CTOS towers. For those of you who've played Assassin's Creed before, these function as your sync points. In other words, they reveal map info. The major difference is that they incorporate hacking, and it's pretty fun, but the truth is I'm only bringing this up because one in particular almost made me bust in my pants. That's fucking cool. There's one last open world design aspect that I absolutely have to talk about, and that's the notoriety system. More specifically, how you lose notoriety. This game has me feeling like Ryan Gosling in Drive. I'm him, bro! I'm literally him!
A few minutes later.
Okay, maybe not. The system at its core isn't that different from the wanted system in GTA 4, except that you have multiple factions that can chase you instead of it only being cops. The big difference in how you escape is what makes it so cool. The map is full of hackable infrastructure. Similar to how you can hack environmental objects to eliminate enemies on foot, you can hack city infrastructure to assist in your escape while in a vehicle. Stoplights, barricades, and even underground steam pipes can be used against your pursuers. My favorite thing to do though is drive through parking lots with garage doors and close them behind me. So with all of that out of the way, it's time to get into the meat and potatoes of this video. That's right, it's time to talk about the story.
I mean, it's alright, like...
I will not elaborate. We don't do that here. I will elaborate on Aiden though, because he is a fantastic video game protagonist. This guy is a fucking ice cube. Aiden Pierce was aura farming before that was even a thing.
I hope you have an invitation or you're dead.
I'm the driver.
Modern game developers can throw as many quirky millennial protagonists into their video games as they want, but none of that will ever come close to matching the feeling of playing as a character that's traditionally cool. And by that I mean like pre-2018 cool, before everything had to be all woke and gay. And that's not even the best part about Aiden. You see, Aiden is a very morally complex character. On the one hand, he has strong family values, for example. It's very obvious from this single cutscene that he cares a lot about his sister and nephew.
You and Jax are the most important people in my life. I'm not gonna stop watching out for you.
Always the big brother, huh?
Hey, could you guys make it a little more obvious that you're fucking? I think some of the neighbors haven't figured it out yet. And he frequently goes out of his way to protect the innocent, which is very admirable. But then he goes and does shit like this.
Lance Brenner. As a family.
What are you doing?
I'm asking you how your family is. Looks like you got two lives going at once, family man. Yeah, the kids are gonna be in college soon. It's pricey for a union rep.
Fuck you. Prison job. It's Angelo Tucci. He's running a convoy. It's too late. You'll never find him.
Who says I want him? Bet he's got a family in town.
That is borderline psychopathic behavior. I'm not about to do a deep dive into the psychology of Aiden, but take my word for it, this is all very intentional. There's just enough strong character traits to humanize Aiden, but there's enough moral ambiguity that you can fill in the gaps with your own interpretation of the character. You could play Aiden as the reluctant vigilante that goes out of his way to non-lethally incapacitate the guards, criminals, and other people that are unfortunate enough to get caught in his path. And he only draws his gun when absolutely necessary. Or, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you could play him as a total head case that shoots criminals in the face to distract himself from the dark thoughts in his head, Punisher style. Both of these play styles make sense depending on your own interpretation of the character, and that's really the beauty of Aiden. He is a protagonist that perfectly complements the open-ended game design. And if any of you think I'm reading too far into this and giving Ubisoft too much credit, I want you to think about the fact that this game literally has a reputation system that reflects the player's actions. This was on purpose. Words don't exist to express how badly I wish this was more common. It's not all sunshine and rainbows though. For example, since all of the best guns and cars can be unlocked for free through the side content at the very beginning of the game, the only real reason to spend your not so hard earned money is to buy new clothes. And in my personal opinion, the default outfit is by far the best one. Also, around half the side content is filler trash. I mean, it is a Ubisoft game after all. The thing that was my biggest complaint initially though is how utterly terrible the mouse feels on PC. Throwing a lawn dart through the center of a Cheerio at 2 a.m. while you're 13 beers deep and blasting Creed in the garage would be easier than shooting a guy center mass from 20 feet away in this game without using a mod that fixes the problem. Now, I say that was my biggest problem initially, and that's because there was a solid 48 hours where I couldn't play the game because Ubisoft's dogshit third-party launcher was down. Let me just say that one more time. I was incapable of playing a game that I purchased with money through Steam and downloaded onto my computer because Ubisoft's proprietary game launcher couldn't verify my ownership of the game due to factors that were entirely not my fault and not my fucking problem. And for the record, that play offline button did absolutely nothing. How is it that on console, you only need an internet connection long enough to purchase and download the game, but on PC, they have to verify your ownership every single time you launch it? Oh, that's right, piracy. That makes sense. So you made it impossible for paying customers to play your game if your servers go down, so that pirates can inevitably crack the game anyway and not have to deal with your shitty launcher. That is peak corporate ass clown behavior. May our Lord and Savior Gabe Newell have mercy upon your wretched souls. But even after all that, I still recommend Watch Dogs. Most people didn't feel that way at launch though, and I personally never understood the hate. So why did everyone hate this game at launch? My best guess is that the downgrades that happened from the E3 version to the release version left a bad taste in everyone's mouth, and no amount of satisfying controls or fun AI design could wash away the feeling of being lied to. That reminds me though, I need to wrap this up so I can head out before the store closes. I've got to pick up some mouthwash on the way to your mother's house because I'm about to leave the taste of something in her mouth tonight, if you know what I'm saying. Alright then, see you next time.